There's just 1 minute to showtime.
The engines are on.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
When they wrote up the systems and the rule set that we use, did working people get to write a line? What class of men on pen and paper jotted down their clues, with capital the heart of their design? When 90 million want a thing, but some shareholders say no, which class of people get to have their way? The people read the fine print and say that this thing has got to go, and we'll start writing a new contract here today. Don't you know that hundreds will work and one man keeps the money? They don't think they gotta tell us why. When they say the new social contract, all the bosses will be gobsmacked and everyone will want a sign. Oh, yeah, everyone will want a sign.
Okay, all right. Hello, cousins. Happy St. Patrick's Day to those who celebrate, which is everyone and no one, I think. Everybody's like, yay, happy St. Patrick's Day. What do we do? So it's one of those things. So hooray-ish. So
I kind of like our fake holidays. We were talking about this with my other American friends, where it's like, you know what? I think because if you want to like have some disassociated from other, I don't know, if like holidays that aren't necessarily connected to church or like, I don't know, celebrating America war things. You got Cinco de Mayo. We got a fake holiday. We got St. Patrick's Day, another great fake holiday.
Things that we have all commandeered. It's basically just day drinking holidays, both of them. But here's the way I celebrate. I bring in our very own St. Patrick, who watches over me in my life, and I'm going to share something on my screen real quick, see if this works. Did it work? Yay, it worked! Yeah. That's one of my paintings. I painted that, so I just wanted to share it with everybody on the day of St. Patrick. So there you are. I'm pressing buttons. I don't know what they're doing, so I'm trying to get things to work. Let me see if I can get this off the screen now. Okay, stop.
Here, I can. Oh no, my hint is given away. I'll be celebrating St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, okay.
In a traditional way.
You know what? I knew you were gonna do this. I was thinking of it before
I did not say anything before.
There's going to do some day drinking. The mayor is drunk.
All right.
Excellent.
Look,
so maybe if you want to do a day drinking with Jared, you definitely can. So
have as many Guinnesses as you want.
Yeah,
they are
right?
they aren't light in the sense of that they taste light, but they're only 4% alcohol. It's one of those interesting things where if people say American beer is weak, it's like, well, in what sense? Because you make fun of Bud Light, but that's 4.9%, baby. So if you're talking about weak from an alcohol perspective, that is false.
It's meant so that you can drink bunches of it and have lots of good time. So
yeah, it's the hope. Yeah. I'm gonna be on Guinness pretty much all day. We got the Costco is selling the Irish beer combo pack, so we have that in the house. And then I think I'm gonna go to the grocery store to replace these because my roommate bought them.
You drink them and just get bored. You'll never know. It happens fast.
Because they have to go to work on a Tuesday, unlike me, a guy who has no job.
Okay, so let's since we're in a party mood here, shout out to the chat. Hey to Time Traveler, who wishes us another great day in hell. Thank you. Nathan Coyote, thanks for hanging out. Oh, he says he had 6. So he's way ahead of you.
I hope you're in a different time zone because it's only 10 a.m. where I am right now. And this is already going to be a struggle. It's mostly for the bit.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, we'll see where it goes. We figured out some way to celebrate. So there you go, everybody.
Well, that's the thing. From like a weird perspective, it's kind of been a pretty positive week of news.
Kind of in a weird way, and I mean, like the good news of hell. Like it's like, oh, cool. Like it's like the like if you really were in hell, it'd be like the subversive newspaper that you got like with headlines about what's going on, because all the bad shit has like really like turned itself around in a way.
It's gonna take me too long to get this up for the bit.
Yeah. So the thing of it is that I think the best thing that happened, all week was America getting FAFO'd. That's probably the best.
But in my image for the last like several weeks, it's just like, it's over. That's all right. Like the empire's just collapsing. We're like, they've pulled everything. Like South Korea did not want the THAAD missile system shit to be put on their land, because it's like, well, because then China's gonna make moves, and then the North is gonna be all weird, and it just kind of like increases tensions. And then what happens after the U.S. just puts it there anyway against the will of the South Korean people? Oh, sorry, we got to take that back, actually, because we're running out of missiles in the Middle East. And then over there, stop sending missiles to Ukraine. Well, now we kind of have, because we are out of missiles. And we need to take all the Ukrainian missiles and go back. I don't know, man. I'm trying not to piss off my friends who are still under the impression that, like, Ukraine war good, but also free Palestine, and they have not yet seen how you can't do both. Like, literally, the missiles from one are being used on the other.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we had to allocate missiles from blowing up some people to blow up some other people. So there is no situation where that's a good thing. So
Zelensky loves Israel and talks all day about how Israel must be defended, and it's like, well, which way, Western man?
Right, yeah, and then like, and it's so pathetic. Just he put out another thing. He's like, Benjamin Netanyahu, I love you. Let me suck your dick. Come on, let's be best friends. Come on, bro. And it's just like, you are so fucking pathetic. The money train is over, guys. It's over. It's
I don't think
done.
we can do any news on it, like really talk about it in depth. But is Netanyahu confirmed alive yet?
Yeah, that was something that we were going to try to. In the time of my logging on, I did not see any confirmed proof that he is.
I don't know, video of him getting a coffee.
Yeah, but that was apparently that had been pre-filmed and pre-staged and everything. A big surprise.
It wasn't even real. Like you can.
Oh,
see
it wasn't real. Oh my! Let me actually clutch my pearls here.
So if they pre-taped a fake one, that's even funnier.
Yeah. So and then people have been putting out pictures, and then other people have been like, that picture was from February. He's missed like 10 different meetings with his people. So and I think what it really comes down to is he's just in hiding. I don't really think he's dead. Everybody wants to think he's dead
because he can't land anywhere.
Right? Yeah, he can't fucking land anywhere, fucker.
He had to go to Munich. He literally fled to Germany to escape.
Everybody's like, come on. But again, that's just he's basically, it's just because Americans' attention span is so short. The fact that they're like, oh, if we get him, it's over. No, come on, dude. No, he's just a piece of it. He's just a piece of the puzzle. He's really just he's just another Trump. It's basically
next man up. It's like thinking taking out the quarterback removes the team. It's like, no, they have more.
Precisely. Yeah. There's other guys. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And the fact of it is, it's like, I think that it's also people have, at least it's kind of hard to figure out where people's heads are in this, because you've got to be in like, free Palestine. We get out of Iran. Not our business. Don't do it. Netanyahu's the devil. So is Trump, but they're also like, it's like you're almost there, like you're like, but then they're like, sprain your ankle like 5 steps from the finish line, because
everyone treasure these months, because as soon as Governor Newsom becomes President Newsom, suddenly it's like, well, he's doing Iran war the right way,
the just and moral way.
Yes, yep. Trump was making all these mistakes, but we really do want regime change. We just don't want it done in a way that makes us feel bad about it.
Right, and that we have to pay attention to it. Yeah, that's exactly it. We've been down this road before. We know what's going to happen again. So in a way,
but I enjoy liberals. We're hanging out right now. We're friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We're almost together on something. We're almost there. You guys are so fucking close. And then also, they're going to get their way. And
most people who have abandoned MAGA. Hey, what's up, guys? Anti-war people who don't really care about party. You're my favorite.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Those people are the ones that are like sort of like, I think maybe inching a little bit closer to or a little faster to it than
you got Marjorie Taylor Greene on there talking about free Palestine. It's like, when is Rachel Maddow gonna get on there and say anything like this?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Like we're I apologize. I have to keep leaning in because I'm looking into the light, and they changed our interface, and I cannot see to make sure.
Well, your lighting is very good. You're very well lit. Better lit
thank
than
you.
me.
I appreciate that. Yeah, at least my lighting is good, right? Everything else, but yeah, like so. If you see me looking at everything like this, it's because I literally cannot see what's going on. But yeah, so maybe we're gonna get lucky. I mean, I'm not saying it would be a bad thing if like he got captured or killed. You know, they did just kill an Ayatollah. Like there was like it's eye for an eye here if you want to go that direction. But and he is a villain, and he is evil, and he is awful, and I don't want him to get anything he has, and hopefully he'll get butt cancer.
But then Bernie Sanders is going to have to describe a different country, because we keep talking about the country of Netanyahu, who is apparently a sovereign nation unto himself. The joke I'm referring to is that Bernie says, like, if you squint, he says things in a way that allows like DSA types and just regular Democrats to be like, yeah, Bernie, you're right out there like fighting the fight, etc. But all he ever says is specifically Netanyahu's war and what Netanyahu has done, and all that. Like, he's, while still being pro regime change in name a country, he thinks China, Iran, Russia, Cuba, they all should be regime changed, just in a way that he considers more like gentlemanly,
right?
I suppose. So what's going to happen when Netanyahu is gone? Is he going to have to actually talk about Israel?
Yeah, and it's like, Israel is not sovereign from Netanyahu. He's not holding the country hostage, people. Like, like maybe there's a handful of people there who are not for this shit and like don't want this to happen, but not many.
They aren't allowed to leave. I found out there's only 2 planes a day that leave freaking Tel Aviv or whatever their international airport is. And if you're a double passport holder, you can probably get out at some point. But if you're just an Israeli passport holder, the brown Israelis, they tend to not be they're having a much harder time getting out, and the flights are limited because population collapse is an actual danger to Israel. You can't do your messianic end of the world, get all the Jews together in one place so God can kill them if all the Jews aren't together in one place, which is, that's not real, but that's like that's the only motivation that I hear that makes any kind of sense of these moves. Like, that's what your Mike Huckabees will just say outright.
Right.
Is that Jesus can't come back. It's like an attempt to be like, look, God, you said that when this happened, this would happen. So we're just going to, like, they're trying to force God's hand by getting everybody in one place.
It's weird. Everybody, I remember, like, if you remember, many, many years ago, when they were coming out, like, it was the W. Bush era was like, they really literally believe that this is going to, like, they're setting themselves up for the second coming of Jesus. Like, this is like that everything's going to go away, and like they are going to be
all
the ones.
The tribes are against Israel, then blah 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 will happen. It's like,
well, yeah, just in general, like it was like this huge revelation to find out that, these people in our government actually believe that they are shepherding the second coming of Jesus, that they believe that this is happening. So fast forward to now, where it's like they're faking that. It's just like none of this fucking matters.
I'm sure Huckabee actually believes it, but like true belief becomes irrelevant. It's just like that's the rationalization I think they give themselves to be like.
Well, it's like the crap that comes out of Trump's mouth is to like, oh yeah, I'm sure you really believe or even have any concept of what the fuck you're saying. Like,
that's why Trump is fun, because I don't think he's in any of that. He's just like, we're here, mate. We're getting the oil. That's
right. Yeah, and then he'll be like, yeah, we're gonna come to God. It's Jesus time, and it's like, name your favorite Jesus quote, or like say something out of. And like when he was put on the spot about it, he's like, I pretty much like the whole thing. The whole Bible is pretty good. I'm really kind of into the Bible as a whole. Next question, please. So that's a possibility. Maybe Netanyahu's dead. Maybe he is flying in circles, unable to land anywhere. I'm sure he can't feel very safe, and you would think that the United States would have like squirreled him away and put him somewhere safe, and that could be a possibility. But this is sort of a wait and see situation. But in the meantime, you can pray for his death. That's fine. That's not gonna hurt anything. So that's something that's been going on this week. My favorite headline was where my favorite headline of the week, just where Trump just like was tantruming as usual, but was like, all the other countries, you better help us open the Strait of Hormuz. You better do it. Help us do it. And then everybody's like, no.
Except Argentina. Argentina's like, sure. somebody was making the joke that not Argentina, like not the military, but just Javier Milei, their president,
Mm-hmm.
himself should just go open the strait, just send him on a boat, see what happens, run him through the strait.
In China, China was my favorite one. They were like, no, not that you would understand this, but the Strait of Hormuz is sovereign.
Yeah, they had
Iran.
no response, which is like, well, I mean, clearly it's like their spot, so they can do what they want, and so they continue to be not no comment that they're quote neutral. It's like when people get mad that they don't vote certain ways in the UN. Basically, that China does not run around and like world police like the US does, because people are like Western brained, where they're like, oh, the only thing that can kill a bad world police is a good world police, and they want. China is minding its business, and I think that's exactly what China should do. And what I think China should do does not matter. I am not Chinese.
But they are the new global world power. And then I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and then we brought it up last week and talked about it. And I think this is kind of where we are here, is that this is basically a fire sale of the United States. All the people who, because once again, we will say this over and over again, people are confused about who is running the show. Trump is not running the show. Netanyahu's not running the show. The donors run the show. And people whose names you will never know. People who are so rich, it's like having superpowers. This is the fact that they are, they're the ones controlling everything. The lobbies are controlling everything. The corporations are controlling everything. And they are the ones making these decisions. They are the ones saying go forward, no, not go forward. They're the ones that openly told Trump after Venezuela, we're not rebuilding the infrastructure to get the oil out of the ground. We just wanted control of it. Fuck you. And he's like, and they're like, we don't care.
We don't even get our oil from Iran. Like the actual gas that you're putting in your car in like freaking Wisconsin, that comes from Texas and Canada, and like. We do not actually use, which makes it so much more infuriating when you see our prices start going up. It's like, we aren't even actually using that. Like that market shouldn't even affect us. And once you start looking into it, it becomes what you're talking about. It's like, oh, I see. It's really like a big global control mechanism that isn't even about specifically producing. Because at this point in capitalism, it makes you less money to produce than to not. It's like a contraction, and capitalism is weird like that, where every cycle you get that. You have like the boom and bust cycle, where it does become at some point more profitable to produce less. And actually, I got to think about this. This kind of gets to what we're talking about currently.
Right.
You can see the gap formed by it's Logo again, my favorite guy. You can see the actual gap formed by the creation of disinformation. They're trying to keep it below $100 for market psychological purposes, because like the 100 is like a weird number that freaks people out if it goes over 100. Even though we've both seen it go over 100 in our lifetimes. When I first started buying gas, George W. Bush time when I'm driving, it was over $100 a barrel, and it was a big deal. And it's like that's when a Big Mac was $3. So we have crude oil futures, and you see that dip. You can see where like those first few days, and Trump's like everything's fine, it's gonna be great, and then the market went a certain way. Like we're just watching like pump and dumps in real time, because people who actually know how shit works know, oh man, it's going to the moon, like it's going to happen. But like they're already planning for when the ceiling breaks. And I think, if I'm not wrong, this is a few days ago, I think it has gone up. Is it over 100 now? I can Google this while you talk about something.
Well, no, I mean, you're exactly right. We're saying the same thing in a different way. Basically, we're coming at two different points, because this is really, it's always just for blood and oil, right? Like it's just for control. It's just for oil. And then it's weird to think about people still fighting over oil, but that really is still the most global, universal, valuable commodity that people can really fight over or control, because there's still so much of the world that relies on it, where we have not hit the point where it's like, oh, we're all automated, we're all like electricity or whatever. And if it was electricity or something else, then we'd be fighting over that, so that's the whole idea. Now when we look at this in the bigger picture, like I was saying earlier, this is like the people, this America's been circling the drain since the Kennedy assassinations. Went terribly in the 70s. We had a few years in the 80s, and then it went really back to terrible. So now it's the worst that it's ever been. Like living conditions domestically, which we don't need to hit the points, all of those, and what's going on internationally. And you're wondering, like, well, why is all this shit happening at the same time? It's because people are going to be which we've talked about all the time, like forever. Now the rich people, the donors, are pulling up stakes. They realized America has lost its global standing, and even in things like education, we can't compete. So, and haven't been able to for decades. So we've lost the global standing. We're no longer a global superpower. They're going to go invest in other places like China and places who are doing much, much better, much more efficient, much more more to offer the world. So this has been a fire sale. The collapse that we've been saying is going to happen kind of in jest seems to have accelerated, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. Is that the new number? Did it just change?
It's actually, well, you'll see on the top left, like that's just the minute to minute. The numbers go kind of all over the place with the day of trading, but like where they open and close matters.
Right.
We have like that peak, and now we're a few days on. We had another peak, like another, what was it? It was 94.77, then it was at 96.84, and I was back again. So it's most likely going to be doing this like,
Right.
Like if it keeps doing that, I don't know. It's still under 100. I think it's like Logo says though, where it's like a psychological barrier, and they're like, we got to keep it under 100 because when it's over 100, people start
don't
panicking.
forget, all of this is made up. All of this is bullshit. It's all manufactured. It's all fake garbage. As you said, pump and dump schemes. It's all like just all nonsense, complete nonsense. That these people have made their own society effectively by trying to figure out what it was. And like I said, if it was water, if it was gold, if it was electricity, then that's what everybody'd be fighting over. But there still is a very huge global demand for crude oil, and that is where we are. And whoever owns the most and owns, that's what all of Venezuela was about. So don't get confused about, it was a liberation, it was a big anti-socialist movement. Well, of course it was partly an anti-socialist movement, but it was 100% more inspired by the control of the oil supply. Not even the distribution of it, as we've been through. As the billionaires were like, nope, we're not putting the money into that infrastructure to get that out and give it to somebody. What are we going to do that for? Like, no, it's fine where it's at. We just want control of it. And then that's, again, what we're looking at, a part of this situation in Iran is for control. It is for, again, the war for blood and oil is what we're looking at here.
And the people who suffer the most are like the offshoot client states, like your Germany's, parts of Europe, who've been disassembling their own personal power infrastructure. They've been taking nuclear sites offline as opposed to building new ones, and now gas is going
be
up.
More vocal, about this, because they have much higher stakes than some other places, like China, who obviously they do use oil, but they are moving more rapidly towards a where we should be. And again, something we mentioned in the last show was that if you have been alive for a while, you probably have noticed that we've had no fundamental change, and I think that's why people are so blown away when they see all the way that people in China are living, because they're like, they're living in 2040, and it's like, no, they're living right now. We're living in the fucking dark ages.
Imagine if China was disassembling their power infrastructure, and then suddenly, oh no, the oil market flipped out. Now we're screwed because all of our power is oil or coal or gas, liquid natural gas, whatever it is. But no, they're going in the opposite direction. They're like, we've announced all these new nuke plants. We have more solar, wind than anyone else. Like it's not even close. You can see those graphs where it's like China #2.
And they designed their infrastructure for this. They had a future mind about it. It wasn't like, we just threw all the money into buildings. We got tall buildings with neon lights now, like America would do, like a fucking facade. Like they literally planned this out moment to moment, and how that they could grow exponentially, how they could take care of people, and look to the future because they had their eyes on the prize and knew what it was going to take to be a global superpower. And very little, honestly, like when America is in such bad dire straits and still just trying to fight everybody. There was a song a long time ago, and actually that's what it was called, like it's been a long time, and it was just kind of this random song by some whatever band, and there's a line in it that says, I always wonder what other countries think of us. We're like a drunk 15-year-old waving a gun in your face. It's a line that that has stuck with me for probably, I don't know, for like 20 years. I always think about that because that is exactly what America is like on the global stage. You have these these places that have figured it out and know what to do, and obviously we point to China the most because that's the biggest success story of the modern age, right?
They're like the only serious countries that actually do things that move. I mean, it turns out Iran's a very serious country also.
Yes. But you wouldn't know that because it's like that's not really on our the memory, right? Like our zeitgeist. That's not really part of knowing things. But then we find out they are very industrious and like, because it's like, they were the dark ages. No, we're not, just because you're not thinking about it. It's just that
you get told your whole life about how like, these dumb mud people can't do anything.
Right.
Like,
that's exactly the narrative. Yes.
And it's like, actually, they're out there making pretty good moves. Like, wow, the nation that invented chess is kind of good at strategy. Who would have thought?
Right? Yeah, and then there's a lot, and like I've said it several times. Like I don't know what the fuck is going on in Russia, but like they seem to be doing pretty good. Like I don't know, really. Like
in this crisis, guess who? They're fine for oil.
Well, and that's the same. It's the same thing. We don't really, as Americans, we don't really hear what's going on in other countries. We're very kind of mentally landlocked in that way because we're such a big place and we are such drunk 15-year-olds waving a gun in the world's face. There's a lot of things to focus on of our own behavior, not us personally, but like the citizens, but our, the government, our rogue government. So we don't really get to see, it's like, what's day to day like in Russia? What's day to day like in, like Iran? So it's like, we don't think about, oh, well, these countries are really industrious. They have pretty good standards of living. They can afford food and they just go and hang out and do whatever all day and have actual lives. So
it's pretty normal. That's why I go to China. That's why I went to China and I'm going to be returning, because you get, at some point you got to be like, I'm going to go find out for myself because this is kind of ridiculous. And I talk to people back home who will tell me what China's like. And they just describe to me 1992 rural China. And it's like, dude, even rural China now is like, when you compare it to rural America, I grew up in rural America, and they'll show me this, like, look at this street. I'm like, oh, it's slightly nicer than the street. That street's paved. Mine was not.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I'd been talking about this in the winter because there was some shit that Trump was trying to force Indiana to pass, because I've said that before, that Indiana is a bellwether state. We try out things here, then end up going national. Really awful policies. And then he was like, if you don't, it was the redistricting, I think it was. It was the redistricting. He was like, if you don't do it, I'm not going to give you any money for roads. Well, haha, fucker, joke's on you. Indiana doesn't even have roads. This place fucking sucks. So there's nothing here. And like, I mean, we do, but it's just like they're in such bad condition that it's like probably like the whole country probably knows that our roads are non-functional. So and that's just the thing.
Yeah, depending on the area. Like Phoenix is, like, our interstate highway system is pretty darn good. I would, like, if you want to point to a thing of American infrastructure that is cool and neat, it's no longer as impressive as it was in like the 80s. It was like, holy crap, you guys have an amazing road system, and then we just haven't touched it.
That's the issue.
There's no maintenance. I don't think the American empire is going down through some like dramatic. Somebody made the joke today where we aren't getting World War III. We've stopped using numbers, and we're going to get named periodic installments. I don't think there's going to be one big war. I think it's going to be like, oh, it's the this part is flaring up. Oh, this part is flaring up, and then eventually our infrastructure fails. The lights turn off and don't come back on, and that's when you're going to have to actually talk to your neighbors. I don't think there's going to be a dramatic, nobody's getting nuked. It's part of me, it's optimism, I think, on my part, but I don't think anyone's throwing out nuclear weapons. I think that's kind of...
I don't either. I don't think it's going to come to that. I think that like, you would think like, oh, well, there have to be limits. Well, no, like, I just not, the only the way that domestic Americans would have to worry about nukes is if our own people did it.
Israel nukes us using the Samson option.
Well, like the Fallout method. I've referred to that about 100 times now. Like the Fallout idea, where they just nuke their own people to
nuke ourselves.
Just frag ourselves, exactly. So it's like, it's hard to tell. Like, we are all in uncharted territory at this point. There's really nothing to point to except the collapses of other things. And we know, like, if you point to the Russian Revolution, which I think is probably the most historically recent big collapse, like, then that the things after the war were like, or after that were like really, really bad, and then they got better, and the USSR
and then
was
made more progress than any society had ever made up to that point in history,
in that period of time.
Yeah.
And that was a thing too.
And their starting point was like mud huts and no electricity. Part of why I'm optimistic is that once the freaking collapse comes and we actually have to build a real country, I think progress will be pretty swift. We already have so much shit here. We already have a power grid. We already have power plants and modern technology, et cetera, et cetera. It just is used in the stupidest way possible. Like, I could reappropriate a freaking data center. I'm sure we could do something actually useful with that.
Right. And that's something I don't want to like, be like, oh, my books, I'm so smart. No, but when I tend to write my stories, I love setting things in the 80s, because it's such a like weird time, because it was like there was a lot of like there was a lot of toxic optimism, but at the same time, people were living pretty good lives, and they thought like, oh, we're going into the future. This is what's going to happen. But if you from the future are reading something set in the 80s, then you're like, I pretty much relate to this. This is basically the exact same life I'm living, minus the internet. Like everything like is the same. Everything is completely like living standards. Like, and if you look around your house, like you are living, like your house looks basically the same as it did, the houses did then. I'm not talking about decorations. I'm just saying like the way things are built. I'm saying like the products that you use. I mean, the only real difference is like now you have a refrigerator that you can be corrupted because it's online for some reason. I mean, that is not a benefit of society, right? Like,
I don't think it's coincidental that the USSR went away in 1991 and suddenly there was nobody like pushing the US like, hey, it'd be really embarrassing if you didn't do these things that the horrible backwards barbaric Russians are already doing.
Right, yeah.
And now China's kind of becoming that because more people are like, how come they have like a bridge that works?
Yeah, they got a bridge and we got bridges to nowhere. And that's the kind of the thing when there's a Cold War like that between countries, or you do end up with a space race. You do end up with having to push innovation. And then when all that shit evaporated, and in the 80s there really was not a lot of conflict except for like just like small like overturnings of things in like Central America.
Like we were just taking out motherfuckers. Like we were doing
like that kind of thing. Like there were people. It was still kind of more Cold War than it is like right now with like a lot of active war. In the 90s were the
people
same
still
way,
thought
very
they could
active.
like bargain. In the 80s, like, oh, we'll make a deal, and then they totally won't go back on it. But now it's just we've shown that every quote ally we have, it's like you will be betrayed by the machine as soon as you become inconvenient. Like we haven't liquidated Zelensky yet, but you know it's coming.
Right.
You know he's gonna be like, oh, sorry, man, we got to do a regime change on you now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's happening too. And it's like there's all of these things that just add up to all of these problems, and that's sort of where we kind of are at in this conversation. Is like, yeah, well, we don't know what's going on exactly. We don't really have a big precedent of when a country gets sunk on purpose, especially one as big as the United States. So that's where we really are in terms of like just kind of a wait and see, but also shit is bad, but also maybe the bad shit will lead to good shit, and hopefully it just won't get too bad. Like you say, like we're not mud huts. We're already starting from a pretty good starting point, even though it's like that starting point is really reminiscent of like 45 years ago. But we're starting somewhere with something. But until we move, the move that has to be made is, which people are not really understanding, is that the move that has to be made is like this has to be like a dual power situation. I like to say shadow government, but Jared likes to tell me I'm wrong. It's called dual power.
Something must take up the necessary functions of government. It doesn't have that many necessary functions. Right now, we're watching our government do almost entirely unnecessary functions while neglecting its necessary functions.
Right. It is absolutely not doing a single thing that it is intended to do. It's not taking care of anything domestically. It's not taking care of anything internationally. It's not taking care. It's wanton destruction across the board that they are like bloodthirstily endorsing and voting for and having happen. We didn't get here in a day. This has been going on for a very, very long time. So when we look at all of this, and then there's kind of something, there's a story that we kind of are waiting to see about as well, which is that Congress allegedly passed a bill apparently banning the ownership, private ownership of houses vis-a-vis, private equity companies. So we don't really know. Like, I feel like there's a catch in that they just figured out some other backdoor way to be like, we're going to profit off of this in this other way. Like when a PAC changes its name, like that.
And I'm trying to check. Maybe you might know more than me. Like, has it been passed by everybody? Like, is it fully in law, or is it like we're sending it to the president to?
Well, if that's the case, he's not going to sign it. The last I heard that it passed, but I might
Senate
be wrong
passes, and if you're seeing House passes, that means it would just be up to Trump to have signed it. And this is
I should have checked on that, but I to get a confirmed answer on that. But I've been like, this has got to be bullshit. So I hadn't followed up on it too closely because I figured like, well, this just sounds like a fake way to just do it another way.
It passed 89-10, which makes me very suspicious. Like, what if everybody? It's freaking the George Carlin line where it's like, and if something is bipartisan, it means that a larger than normal deception is being carried out. And I'm like, where is it? Where's the deception? What's happening? What is this? It could also be covering for some completely don't look that way type thing that we aren't even considering right now. Like, oh, they're passing this. Meanwhile, oh, surprise!
Like, yeah, when they hide a bunch of shit in a bill, and you're like, what the fuck? Like later about this. So
like Elizabeth Warren really likes it, and I'm like, oh god,
yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like on the surface, when we talk about that's one of the biggest problems is equity companies being able to buy. Right now, Indianapolis is dealing with one buying their power company of Indianapolis, so like, and they've done this everywhere, all over the place. And it's like, oh, what, you thought people would just be cool with this? Like, this is fine. Like, and, these companies are buying up houses, and this again, it just happened overnight. It's been happening for a long, long time. And, they own the utilities, they own, the housing, they own the companies that you need for things. Like, so at this point, it would seem on the surface is like, oh, did Congress suddenly decide like, hey, this is good? No, they don't do things out of the goodness of their hearts. We've been shown this. They don't do things for our benefit. They do things to extract value. So obviously they all work together to figure out a way that they could, extract backdoor value by saying, we're passing a bill that says private equity can't own houses anymore. Wink. Because somewhere hidden in the bill or whatever it is, you're going to find out later that they just figured out to do it by a new name or to do it in a new way that isn't technically illegal.
So I've only looked at this for a second, and this is NPR, so I don't know. But the like catch that I've seen that might be a situation of it looks good, but in reality just doesn't do the thing that it says it does. Because it does seem to have pretty high ceilings on what gets considered private equity, where they're saying prevent any investor, and the word investor is important in this, like who is defined as an investor that owns at least 350 homes, they are stopped from buying any more, which sounds, I mean, good. I guess it's freaking something. 350 homes.
Yeah, then they'll just divide up the investors, so you get 350, you get 350, you get 350 until it's like a conglomeration.
But we have research is mixed on the impact these large investors have on housing prices. A report from the Urban Institute Research Group found that large investors, which is defined as those with a presence in at least 3 markets and with at least 1,000 homes. So it's like, okay, so an investor can't have more than 350 homes, but to be defined as an investor, you have to have 1,000 homes. So it's like, and apparently under that definition, they own 3% of single-family rentals nationwide. I don't know if that includes apartments or just like housing. They said single-family, so I assume that means houses. Freddie Mac found that institutional investors may play a small role in price increases, but found they are much less significant than primary drivers like limited building and migration to high-cost cities. Whenever people like Liz Warren in the same article is talking about we need to build more houses, and it's like, guys, that's not actually even true. If you just do the math, we all talk all the time about how like, oh, there's 1 million homeless people and 4 million empty houses.
Yes.
It's like we actually have tons of housing.
Shit. Yeah, please stop using resources and tearing things up and building shit. And to that end, Nathan Coyote put in the chat an interesting point, and this is true, which is they say in the past 40 years, a lot of beautiful Victorian homes have been torn down and cities have been redeveloped, also known as tearing half the fucking city down, which is absolutely true. And this has actually happened in my very own area where Victorian houses, some of the first houses in this area were torn down for, redevelopment. And that's, because they could tear that down, they could have one person buy that, or they could, put, a small apartment block on that, and then somebody gets to have that. And like that, what we discussed here, this bill potentially doesn't, what does that mean for, multiple multiple dwellings, it's, okay, so they can't buy houses. Like, what about apartment complexes? What about duplexes? This kind of thing. So this seems very suspicious on the surface. And I think that that's something that, they're trying to come out. And then, of course, they use the media to do their dirty work. So the media is like, they passed this bill that says no more private equity owning houses. Yay. And then a lot of people are just do the headline news thing. And so they're like, oh, that sounds good. Finally, somebody did something good. And, then you got to go like, wait a minute, so that's kind of where we are right now, because we don't do things. I mean, name the last thing that any bill was passed or anybody that made a significant change to anything that improved the quality of life in this country. And I'm not talking about like prices jumping just here recently. I'm talking about like, has anybody done anything to benefit education in any meaningful way? Has anybody done anything to, benefit healthcare in a meaningful way? We know the answer to that. The answer is no. It's been extract value, extract value, extract value, extract value. And that's where you get to this point where there's nothing left. And then the investors leave and go somewhere else. So it's all connected.
The other things this article brings up that are definitely an element here is the Senate version seems to mention it has a sale requirement for build to rent housing. And they're talking about that build to rent housing makes up, what is it, about 7% of new single family house construction. So if you add in the 3% and the 7%, okay, so now we're at 10%. This is getting more significant here. But 79 industry groups representing property managers like the Institute of Real Estate Management, they say that they should take out no, you need to keep letting us build to rent housing, which that's what I see a lot in Phoenix. Is you see entire neighborhoods that are being built and you're like, oh cool, a new housing development or something, and then you look at the signs and you're like, oh, these are build to rent. They are building shitbox houses that they can rent to people for the couple
that
of
will
years
literally melt to the ground if they catch on fire. Yeah.
I don't have high confidence in the build quality of places that they don't even intend to actually sell to someone.
Right.
And then you just have it's like when they build new apartments here, they all start as luxury apartments, then they're in no way maintained, so they just eventually become a slum. You're like, how come these apartments, this is an eyesore and we don't like, it's like, well, if you freaking had any kind of maintenance I don't know what we would do. I assume that if the people who lived in the building owned the building, they wouldn't want it to turn into a shithole. So like maybe that could solve some of our stuff if you have some like determination over the place that you live. So
that's the thing too, is like all of the solutions to these problems are extremely obvious and easy. And you have people who aren't really super dialed in like we are, our galaxy brains here, but just who are just like, why don't they just money? That's it. Why don't they just?
They know you're freaking broke, and it's like they want to try to get. You're talking about like the fire sale. It's also just like on the American people in general. It's like, okay, they're running out of money, so let's get their last nickel.
Yes,
and then we can start selling them.
Scrape it down. Exactly. Sell it for part.
You look at like 1800s England. It's like pretty soon they'll be selling us. It's like the 1 penny sit down and the 2 penny lie down.
Right. No, you're 100% right. Like this isn't the end of it. Yeah, well, this is not the end of it. Like we keep being like, the intention of raising prices and raising the cost of living, and then having companies come in and buy all your shit and control the food supply and control the oil supply and control the electricity supply, is to make sure that they're running you down because they have this great idea. And that's the same reason why homelessness is continually being criminalized. And we see Mr. Gavin Newsom out hand tearing down encampments where people fucking live because they've been driven out of society. And then we're constantly seeing homelessness being criminalized to funnel people into the for-profit, privately owned prison system to create slave labor. I was told
that Washington State is like made 3D printing illegal, like a felony in some cases, and I'm like, this seems like what you're talking about. It's like, okay, we gotta ramp up the prison population. We gotta cull some of these poors with the combination of poison food, lack of health care. I don't know, if they fall off a bridge, fuck them. That's fine.
Yeah, and we drive them out of the housing market to make sure they can't own anything, and then they've got nowhere to live. Like there are no jobs because the AI is destroying all of the job markets. So it's like, what happens next? Like they make sure you cannot live, and then they make sure if you can't, it's criminalized so that they can further extract your value. And that is the thing that a lot of people really need to be really concerned with going forward, because it's going to accelerate. That's what the concern really is the joblessness amounting to sorry, I had to plug my the joblessness and the just the tighter squeeze and the tighter squeeze, because again, those donors are going to take and this includes Congress, the people who are benefiting from this. They're going to extract every bit of value and then take off and put their money somewhere else and live somewhere else nice, because they extracted all this value personally out of carrying out these horrible plans. And then we will be at the point of having to start again. But I hope when we start again that we're not like trying to rebuild, stop trying to rebuild the exact same system. And that reminds me of there was a a rumor. I'm not exactly sure where the rumor got started, but there was a rumor, and it might have started with Iranians posting on social saying that they were going to launch a cyber attack, like their hackers were going to launch a cyber attack on credit unions and on like some various like debt, like the credit cards, like debt holders and things like that. And then Americans immediately picked this up and ran with it, and they're like, can I give you my social now? Like,
Yeah.
can you do this? Like, it became like this whole big thing online. Like everybody lost their minds, and like it just shows you how dog shit this country is that
There's
like we're punking on our own country this way. What's that?
There's a lot of weird positives, and I like.
Can you imagine if that happened? Like think about it for a second. Like that would be so great. Like we could like literally like seize control if someone did that. Like that would be so great.
With all of these issues, I don't take sides, and like I can't say like, oh yes, I am quote supporting Iran, but like, because like, what do they even mean? I'm tweeting? Oh, I tweeted in support of Iran. They're gonna take that and destroy a village with my tweet. Like it's not. It's just like vibes. I send my vibes. Like I don't know what the fuck support even means in these cases. I'm not picking up a gun. I'm not getting on a boat. But who else has been? We've been talking. If you're a Free Palestine person, you've wanted someone to do something about this situation for a long, long time, and the only countries who have done any material anything towards that end are like Yemen and now Iran. So like, am I supposed to be like, no, Iran, stop, don't destroy the Epstein people, don't
exactly. There's also been threats come that same way of that we've got files, we got photos, we got videos, we're gonna release them. Haven't seen that happen yet. Hope that we do. We're like, do it, fucking do it, let's go. Like take our debt, please. Like they don't need it. Like expose these fuckers right now. Let's go. Like we're just sitting here like hoping for real that it happens.
They're talking about attacking like Nvidia and IBM, and we're over here like, well, we've kind of been trying to do that through peaceful means for many years now, and it's not doing anything. So maybe if you blow up some data centers or whatever.
yeah, seriously, I'm telling you right now, if like a drone blew up at any data center, any one of them, America would be like, fuck yes, do it again. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we are here for it. Like, thank you for this.
Accidental or unintended, I'm not sure, knock-on effect that is really a positive. You've heard me talk about how we want to reduce the work week. Communism is free time only and nothing else. Well, we have Asian governments are implementing emergency measures like 4-day work weeks and work from home to cope with a fuel shortage triggered by the Iran conflict and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Right. Asia is particularly dependent on oil. See, that's where the Middle East oil actually goes, is like Europe and Asia, especially. Yes. Like they were saying in our chat over here, like China gets a ton of their oil from the Middle East. China, they do have some domestic oil, but not as much. Like the U.S., we just don't need anybody else's oil. Certainly not currently. China has, funnily enough, the region where they say they're doing the Muslim genocide. That's the region that they have oil. So isn't that convenient that the U.S. really wants them to separate and become a little balkanized state that we can mess with? Which definitely won't happen after seeing what has happened to the Gulf states. How we've just betrayed all of them one at a time. Like freaking Qatar's over there and Bahrain. And they're like, you guys are going to protect us, right? When you put your base here, you said that was for our protection. So now that protection happens, right? And we're like, sorry, man. Got nothing for you. We're losing aircraft carriers over here.
Right? Yeah. Our toilets don't flush, bro. We can't help you.
We're shooting down our own people, and or we're getting shot down by Iranians, but whatever the current message is. But we have Asia is particularly dependent on oil exports from the Middle East. Japan and South Korea, respectively, source 90% and 70% of their oil from the region. Notes Fortune, this is the Fortune magazine, from the report. Yeah, Thailand ordered civil servants to take the stairs rather than the elevator. I guess that does take power. Work from home for the duration of the crises. It increased the air conditioning temperature to 27 Celsius. Ugh. And will tell government employees to wear short-sleeved shirts. Just don't wear a suit, man. It's going to be hot in the office. Yeah, they have about 95 days of energy reserves left, according to Reuters. Vietnam's talking about that. Like, it's not how you want it to happen, but hey, why not? Like, frickin', you don't need to be working 5 days a week in the office.
Anyway, yeah, they're learning something from this. It's not really hurting them to the point like people are going to starve. There's going to be like mass deaths, panic in the streets. No, like but it's like, okay, like obviously this is something we maybe should have prepared for a little sooner, like took this a little more seriously, and now we're going to start, okay, let's return to the work from home model. Let's return to the 4-day work week. Like this is obviously going to work in the long run. This is where we're headed, because those more future minded places, even though they kind of got caught with their pants down here, but more future minded places will have or have seen the writing on the wall and are going to adjust accordingly. Here they would just be like, try not to die or whatever. Your boss is, you're gonna really put your boss out if you die. All right, like just don't do it.
When I talk about how the future,
it's so selfish of you to die on the job right now. So
when I talk about the future being all of us just working a lot less, it sounds like I'm being utopian or idealist or something, but it's like that's just where we're going. We have
there's no jobs. Like what are people gonna do?
It's either we do 40 hours a week of busy work, which most people are already doing, depending on what level you're at. But like at some point we just identify that work does not actually need to be done. Enjoy your time off. And who's going to do that? The capitalist management class, whose entire purpose and job is to extract every single drop of labor that they possibly can, or the people governing themselves going, hey man, you don't need to be doing that. It's okay.
Right. And that's what we're saying here in 1,000 different ways, top to bottom. Capitalism doesn't work.
It's out of efficiency. They're not making that move because the Thai people are like, oh, we just really feel bad. Stay up. No, it's because necessity requires that to happen. So it's happening. And that's what will continue to happen through the future. Necessity will drive us to working the 3-day, then 2-day, then 1-day.
And then everybody else is going to figure that before the United States, and things are going to get worse and worse here. And for some reason, there's no bite in the American people anymore. It seems like the last of that happened in the civil rights era, and I think you could argue that what those people were fighting for really did not, end up coming too much true. Like I think it's still pretty awful to be a minority in this country. So it's pretty awful to just be a person in this country. So I can't imagine I can't imagine, and I see it, but I'm just saying, like, it's just like your day to day has to be so much worse. And then part of what's going on here as well is, this is why we're doing so poorly on the world stage as the United States has spread itself really, really thin. And in the chat, Time Traveler asked us to talk about Cuba. And,
I got a way to spin the thing I'm already going to talk about into Cuba. Don't worry.
Yeah. You want to go ahead? Yeah, go for it.
Well, that's the thing. The situation in Cuba continues to be bad.
Well, as of today, they're reporting that there's been a full power collapse, and it's like, do we take this seriously or do we not? Oh, right.
I promise this matters. I promise this is connected. I'm not just like going to do this and then not talk about Cuba at all. Why do I keep bringing up Mamdani? I don't bring up Mamdani because I have some specific thing against him, or I think that he's the linchpin holding back all of communism from happening or whatever. It's that I am continually told when we start going off about like, oh, how are we going to achieve these results? And I'm like, well, we just need to start voting for these certain candidates. Mamdani is currently the AOC. Most people have moved on from AOC because they've seen that she just serves the empire. And I don't know if it's under threat of death or what, but she's doing it, and that's all that really matters. Bernie, we were joking about how he refuses to even acknowledge the name of the country that is doing the things. He just calls it Netayehu over and over, and how he, at the end of the day, is still in favor of regime change. He wants.
Man, I wish people would give up on Bernie too. I'm sick of hearing about Bernie.
You have to. People have to, like, I bring him up because he's what got us started on the whole freaking thing.
Yes.
He was like, oh no, if we just had like 90 Bernies in Senate, it's like, if we had 90 Bernies in Senate, we'd be doing exactly this. We would just feel less bad about it.
Right.
So you gotta freaking get that chip out of your brain that makes you think that one of these bourgeois parties is going to act in any interest other than its own. It's Epstein and Epstein. And you can argue all day about how your Epstein is better, but God, that is stupid. Doesn't it sound stupid when you put it like that? So Mamdani's wife, what did she do? She I gotta freaking read it because it's like some like 6 levels of Kevin Bacon anti-Semitism or shit. New York, okay, let's keep going down here because he does like, all right, what was the working question? So his wife like endorsed or worked with an artist, and this artist is pro-Palestine, and that's okay, I gotta go back up paragraph here because I remember who Douage is. Douage's ties to Abu Hawa were first reported by the conservative news site The Washington Free Beacon last week. It said that 28-year-old Duwaji, a freelance illustrator, okay, that's the artist, had provided an illustration for an essay compiled by Abdulwa as part of a collection from writers in Gaza titled Every Moment is a Life, published online by Everything is Political. So there was an essay, and she got an artist who put art on an essay, and that's the connection. And Mamdani, instead of being like, shut up, or just ignoring it or being like, you guys are being fucking stupid, this is dumb, like, what are we even talking about here? Instead, he goes out and does be like, I'm sorry, my wife, she just doesn't know what she's doing out there, man.
Your wife's a fucking idiot and I
She's
hate
so
her and I
dumb.
love Israel.
Throwing his wife under the bus. Okay, Mamdani says they've been commissioned by a third party and had never engaged with or met I don't even know them. I have never met Palestine or
And I don't even know my wife. I never met her
I've never
either.
seen my wife. What comments the report highlight, and then they're talking about like, but you see what I mean. Mamdani won't stand up to like for his wife on
His
some
own
like
wife, dude. For
on
real.
some horseshit social he said she said who went to whose party parlor game nonsense. He won't stand up to that. How did he respond? At a press conference, Mamdani said that beyond Duwaji having never met Abdul Hawa, she had also not seen the social media posts in question. She's never seen. She's blindfolded. As we stand in our administration, I can tell you our administration, which is separate from the First Lady, she doesn't have a role within it. Just so you know, my stupid wife is not in the government, is against bigotry of all forms, unflinchingly. She's against all bigotry. I think that rhetoric is patently unacceptable. I think it's reprehensible in reference to the Free Palestine lady, because she's a little bit too spicy about Israel. So, like, that's who's, quote, coming to save you. That's who we're supposed to... You know that Mamdani right now...
They want you to throw your weight behind, right? Okay. Your
time, energy, knock on doors. Right now, Mamdani is holding the president of Venezuela in a New York... Well, he's not holding him, but he's being held in New York City. He's in a New York City jail where he is being denied right to a lawyer because they won't let the government pay for a lawyer. So they're just... You know, isn't that like one of our rights or some shit?
Yeah. It's like probably Americans. One of the first ones. But like...
Isn't it one of our more important rights? And they're like, no,
like, what the fuck is going on? Like, everything is everything.
Where's Mamdani on that? Why isn't he giving speeches on that? Why doesn't he just, like we talked about a month ago, walk in with his cops and try to march Mamdani out? I'm not Mamdani out. Fucking march himself out. March out Nicolas Maduro. Why doesn't he be like, look, if we're getting him out of solitary confinement, whatever, we're gonna give him his lawyer. Like, why don't you go try and make a freaking move, man?
Yeah, if he posed any real actual opposition, that would have happened. Or could happen.
He'd be dead. He would be like something would happen. He'd be
but then magically his head would get put back on backwards and he'd fall out of a 10-story window of somewhere. So
who's the Pennsylvania Fetterman? He would have a stroke and then like suddenly it's like, oh, I love Israel. I love
Israel. I had one of those Israel strokes.
I had an Israel stroke. So like the same reason that Mamdani's not going to be doing like no progressive politician, because this is our paragon, right? This is our best guy. No politician of there is going to be talking about like, oh, let's go help Cuba. What does Mamdani say about Cuba? Where are we here? God, this is like the Manhattan Institute getting mad that he isn't calling him a dictator enough. I got to find the thing where they're asking Mamdani like, what do you think of blah blah blah? And it's he signals in favor of regime change, where he'll be like, well, yes, blah 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 is a dictator, but we shouldn't go blow up their country. And it's like, well, yes, they're a dictator. Like, there you go. There's your soft support for your regime change when it eventually happens. For the same reason that the freaking DSA went to Cuba. They sent a delegation to Cuba to meet with the communists. And some of the DSA members snuck off without telling anybody and went and met with anti-government Cubans. And it's like, how do you not just say, look, the DSA is pro-overthrowing the government in Cuba, when literal members of the Socialists of America, the Democratic Socialists of America, are out there colluding with anti-communist like agitators in Cuba?
What? Like, okay, come on,
that's
guys.
a real thing. If you never heard that,
let's get real for a minute.
Look that
like,
up.
Mamdani, he's born in the United States, right? I don't know if we've talked about this. Yes.
Well, that's the thing. I forget because it's like his mom is. No, wasn't he born in Uganda?
No, see, that's what I was saying. If he was born, I can't remember. I feel like we've talked about it before, but there's so much data, you know. Like, if he was born in the United States, it's like that. Would they, you know, are they going to try to make him into the new AOC and try to push him forward towards presidency, or at least highest office he could hold, if not? I was just, you know, that thought just kind of crossed my mind.
This is a Mamdani quote I'm thinking of where it's like, I want to be
Oh,
clear where I stand. I believe both Nicolas Maduro and Miguel Diaz-Canel, who's the Cuba guy right now, are dictators. Their administrations have stifled free and fair elections, jailed political opponents, and suppressed the free and fair... So you think he's going to be doing jack shit for Cuba? China's been sending them a
calling the
lot of
kettle
solar
black
panels.
here.
And yet our federal government's long history of punitive policy. See, and he's like, but I don't like that we've been doing, like, they're horrible, evil dictators who are ruthless, bloodthirsty maniacs and need to be removed. But, you know, we shouldn't be blockading. And it's like,
here's
you see
here's
how...
a slight, like a very neutral, slightly opposition post just to keep you guys hanging on. And that works so much for them. They're like, oh yeah, like the Jon Stewart, the John Oliver crowd. They're like, oh yeah, this guy knows. Like those guys are bloodthirsty, crazy assholes. But also probably it's not a good look to blockade your shit.
You're supposed to believe that he's this secret radical socialist who's about to do all these moves, but he just has
like
to play the game.
Shit. You know what I wonder? I wonder about that. Like, what about those? You know, those super trad family values conservatives seeing him, you know, chastise his wife like that in public? Like, shouldn't like they're not on his side, right? Anyways, yeah, doesn't that come off to them as like, no, you're supposed to support your wife, or she shouldn't have been doing it anyways because you were supposed to take care of her or whatever. Like, I don't know what the fuck's in their heads, but like that's my point. Like, shouldn't that, like I haven't seen that point made yet, but like you know, that can't be winning him any extra favor there. Like obviously, like people who are like normal are like this is fucked up, bro. Like enough with the Israel shit, okay? And then like this is gonna get worse over time, everyone. Like just so you know, like we're not trying to, you know, piss in the punch bowl here. Like this is like we've been doing this all the way along. Be like, we're telling you, he gets elected. Okay, cool. Let's see if he does it wrong. Proves us wrong. Nope. Okay, we're gonna tell you. And it's gonna get worse.
It's gonna get libraries to give more money to the police. He reinstituted the homeless sweeps. The shit that he can't. It's just like when Trump says elect me and all the wars will end, and then he starts 50 wars, and everyone on quote our side can obviously see that. But then if a quote leftist does the exact same thing, oh, you gotta grow up. That's just how politics work, man. You gotta play the game.
Yeah, you don't know how it works. Everything works incrementally. You've got to take turns. Let's hold hands. Participation medal. Like, yeah, we've heard it all fucking before. Like the mental gymnastics that it takes and the verbal gymnastics that ends up, you know, going on with that, you know, it's ridiculous.
To save Cuba, you got to destroy Cuba first, but yes, Cuba is in dire straits. I wish there was more positivity. Like maybe the Iran war will just exhaust enough resources that we won't be able to. That we get less and less effective at doing this stuff. Like NATO has a harder time going and shaking down countries because they're just getting stretched more and more thin. That's, I think, the only way that the Cuba situation quote ends. Like, I think they should continue to foster relations with the other free countries of the world. So they can get some
Mexico
kind of
and China both at different times have said that they were going to assist them in various ways.
Yeah, and Mexico like punked out. They're like, we're gonna send this ship anyway, and they're like, okay, sorry, USA, never mind.
yeah. See, like, but that's kind of the thing. Like, Mexico is not really in a position to fuck with the U.S. because they kind of can't, you know, like, so you know, they're very right. We share a border right there. Like, the U.S. can just fuck them up anytime they want to. But someone like China,
I would love to see, like, if you saw China, people are like, why doesn't China just show up with the Navy basically and just start a war with the U.S. over Cuba? And it's like,
because they know that's what we're going for here. Like, they know that, they know that is the whole. They're literally, you know, killing people. It's like they put them in the airlock and they turn the oxygen off, and like they're like, haha, you better come and do something, ha 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 ha.
The goal is, I heard this from it's psychoanalysis, so I don't spend a lot of time and energy thinking on it because you just get your hopes up. But it's they were a military guy. Oh, Scott Ritter. Scott Ritter, famous for he was the weapons inspector in Iraq, who was like, they don't have any weapons. What are you guys talking about? And so he's been treated really poorly by the machine since then. If is not shocking, but he's talking about how that if you notice how few Americans are being killed in this war, and it's like he makes the point of if Iran wanted to just kill a bunch of Americans, they could, and they would have by now, but what would actually start uniting the American people in support of a bullshit war? If suddenly we're taking a bunch of casualties. They are targeting specifically the American military machine.
Right.
And what is the response? Everybody at home is just like, yeah, man, blow up the credit cards. We don't give a fuck. Like,
right?
Because they aren't blowing up American kindergartens in Kuwait. They're shooting military targets.
And that's the thing too. Iran said publicly, openly, they said, we understand the United States and Trump is planning a 9/11 style attack, and we want to let you know right now, our grievance is not with the American people, and it's not us. So when that happens, look north, dude. It's like not us. Like that is like you're totally your deal going on.
If
right
Iran
there.
wanted a bunch of dead Israelis, they would be picking more civilian targets in Israel. They
Right.
seem to be shelling Israel with relative ease at the moment, but they are hitting military strategic targets. You know,
Right.
these people who we've been told are the most bloodthirsty, backwards, psychotic apes. You know, they're out there, you know, picking intelligent targets and showing a massive amount of strategy. If China suddenly started firing upon American ships in Cuba, suddenly we would find some support for a war with China, and they know that, so like, you can't.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're not getting in on this, right?
You have to let the U.S. be this psychopath that lashes out and does all these crazy things and kidnaps people's presidents, and then the whole world just goes like, okay, let's maybe not do a deal with them.
Right. Yeah, that's basically what's happening, and that's again what we're talking about by fire selling the United States and already making deals with other places. Like they're like, yeah, we will go. Make Trump think that he's in charge of this when we say we could deliver the message of like, okay, now it's time to go forward in Iran. Now it's time to put a blockade around Cuba. Now it's time to kidnap a president. Like, so that is like, that's why all this is happening all at once. And I really wish that, again, the Jon Stewart, John Oliver crowd would like understand that like there is a higher power to all of this. Like the ladder keeps going up above Netanyahu and Trump. Like it keeps going on. Like they don't have any authority. And this was a notion that was very common, like in the 90s. People knew that, like that there were, the president was a puppet. And again, like George Carlin commented on it a lot. The president is just a stooge. Like, look at what's happened in Ukraine. If you think that like our presidents are somehow better or more in power, or
if you think Zelensky actually runs Ukraine.
Yeah, Zelensky was a literal stooge. Like he was an actual stooge. He was just some comedian they picked off the street or whatever.
A rich guy put him on a show. They made sure that show was syndicated nationwide. They essentially created him as a celebrity, kind of like a Taylor Swift or something over here, where they're just like shoved at you. And it's not that it works every time they try it. They got like 5 or 6. It's like when you're gambling. I don't really gamble, but you see people gamble where they don't, if you're on like, I don't know, roulette, you don't just put usually one single bet on one thing. They kind of spread them out. You do a couple of bets. So maybe this one will hit, maybe this one, blah, blah, blah. The rulers do that with it. That's how our freaking shooters show up. You throw out a bunch of seeds and some plants grow. And in this case, Zelensky was that. He emerged as like, oh, this he's funny, he's charismatic enough. Let's put him.
They're responding to him, yeah.
And he's campaigning on let's chill out with Russia, and then immediately turn up back. Like,
and then now we have like this past week, like Netanyahu, I love you, bro. Like just do it together. Like please give us the money. Keep giving us money. So, and that's literally all he's done is beg for money. Like his entire position on everything the whole time has been beg for money. And then money has been just absolutely pump and dumped into them. It's been a complete money laundering scheme, which most things in this world are.
It's really pumping money into the weapons manufacturers, which we all
and that did propping up the weapons manufacturer, because don't forget, war is the only thing that's really evergreenly like profitable. That these people can really make tons and tons of money, like particularly Congress can make tons and tons of money off of supporting it. So it's just like I'm so tired of all these people being like, do something, the Democrats, and it's like, they fucking are. They're just, you're stupid and they're not. Like they are, if you were in their position, you would be also doing the same thing, either through penalty of death or through penalty, or for the idea that you were going to benefit so greatly that you were going to magically become like a trillionaire, which they are. It's like if they're supposed to have these base salaries, and if you take somebody else in the world with that same base salary, like they are not living the same lives. There's some definite dark and dirty money going on by being in those positions for advancing these kind of things for the people on top. There is trickle down economics in the way that it is within a group of people, where if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So that's essentially how our government is working at this time, and I guess pretty much forever, at least since the 80s, since it was piece and parceled off to allow for corporations to get to dictate how things were going to go. And so that's where we are. So yeah, we are kind of in a holding pattern so far as seeing where things go. Because if we just something has to bottom out before there's going to be any real significant change, I think, is what we're kind of saying in several different ways here. It's like, well, how does things have, you think things have been at rock bottom? Well, like, wait, because they can get 1,000% worse. So, but we just don't know when or how or what shape that's going to take. So we're all just kind of sitting around just trying to keep our heads above water as best as possible. And
the world gets to see that the U.S. cannot beat Iran in a war. And I know
yes.
This isn't really meant to be a war that is won, but we don't appear to be achieving any of the strategic goals set out, because that goes back to my theory that this war was decreed somewhere in like the 70s, and it was going to happen regardless. And the machine just went, oh, it's a Iran wartime, and it just like keeps rolling, and no Trump or anyone else can stand in front of the machine and be like, no, stop, just crush. Like it's going into the war.
And it happens when somebody's so weak and obvious, because like they can pin everything on this guy. They know everybody hates Trump, right? Yes. And if they make him into the figurehead of hate, if they make him, he's the biggest smokescreen to ever exist.
Then they're going to build you up for Newsom. Newsom's going to be better. He's going to be better. And then he's going to get in. And then, he's going to be the new, the expression sin eater. That's like what Biden was. Biden was a sin eater president. We just do a lot of horribly unpopular things. And then you just go, oh, well, it was all Biden. Don't worry about it. Now it's going to be different. And then Trump does a whole ton of horrible things. Oh, it's just Trump. Don't worry. As soon as he's gone. And then Newsom's just going to do the same shit again. Like, oh, you're horrible. Oh, don't worry. It's just Newsom. As soon as we can get, like, I don't know. Yeah.
It's just one more election, bro. This next time. Just the next time. We can't let it happen again, bro. Trump will come back, or Trump Jr. going to happen, or, Vance or whatever the crap.
Who was the reaction to Newsom going to be? Because the reaction to Obama was Trump. So, like, every time the pendulum swings a little crazier, what the hell is going to come after this? Like,
oh man,
have
something
some
bad.
thinking. Because when Newsom or whatever Democrat gets in there, does not accomplish their goals, you think people are just going to be like, well, he did the best he could. No, they're going to run as far in the opposite direction as they can, and they're going to end up voting for, I don't know, Ted Cruz.
Right? Or somebody, Marco Rubio, somebody really bad, or somebody we don't even know yet. And the thing of it is that I think the left knew Biden was going to be bad news, but I think it was going to be more like a hold the line, just kind of sit there neutral, like not do anything, not accelerate the process. But he was right up there with Trump and making this happen, making all of this shit just go like straight, like rocket ride to the fucking bottom. Like,
he did pull out of Afghanistan accidentally, so that was
right, like yeah, like and then you immediately had people on like the blue MAGAs going like, well, okay, the actual real problem was that he had dementia, and they all knew it, and it was a big issue, and they were propping him up Weekend at Bernie's style, and that's the real issue, and that's why everything happened. It's like, okay, well, Justin was calling the shots then, and who then funded the genocide? Who then opened the weapons, coffer and said like, go to town, guys? Like who was making these decisions? And if he was just so completely a corpse sitting up in a chair, right?
Weekend at Bernie's is great because they made sequels of it. You're like, what the fuck? And we're sitting here right now, Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and actually I was just getting ready to mention this, but Nathan Coyote did in the chat, which is that Tucker Carlson, like there has been some talk about him running for president at some point. Like it is like there's some odds, I guess, on it or something, and then his odds actually improved because that there is talk about him getting charged with being a foreign agent. So honestly, like when we were talking about like you're saying like who could come after, who what kind of hell does Newsom shepherd in? And it's like, yeah, well, maybe it's Tucker Carlson, since we don't take anything seriously in this country and have it for decades at this point. Well, I think that it's about as much as we can fit into an episode. We tried to hit things as fast as we could.
Nice. This is a dynamic day. I hope I didn't talk too fast.
Yeah, no, yeah, we were kind of we've got the spirit of St. Patrick in us. We were trying to get to as much as we're trying to get to as much as possible because this was just a huge week. Sometimes you just have to kind of wait and sit around and be like, well, we're a holding pattern here. We don't know what's going to happen. But this time it was kind of just blow after blow after blow. And So maybe we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we always end up on that note anyways. We'll see, because we don't know. So hopefully we'll hold together for another week. Hopefully things will improve. Hopefully people will stop, we'll start getting the message, the bigger picture on all of this kind of thing. And
things are happening, and I'm always like dangerous to say that, like, because nothing ever happens, as is the joke, that like, oh, all these crazy things. Because remember, Iran had a war, like we did a war with them not too long ago that we had a bad time with, and everything seemingly went back to normal again for like 8 months. But I don't know. Maybe things are not gonna. I don't know if things can just return sitcom style back to normal for next week's episode after this.
Right. Yeah. I don't think anything's changing that quickly. But again, we might see that this upcoming week is like a calmer wait and see week, or we might have another big headline slam like this one. So we don't really know. But on that note, you can reach out to us on our socials. And let us know if there's something you want us to talk about, or that we should bring up on the show, or some such thing. We broadcast live on YouTube and Twitch, and we have you can also watch our past episodes on YouTube and Rumble. So you can check it, all of our what we've been saying out all the time. If you want to hear a couple of people be right all the time historically, you can check out our past work. We don't want to be right. That's the thing, though. That's what really sucks about being on the left, is that you're right when you don't want to be, or correct, I should say. That was kind of a confusing sentence. Anywho, thanks for joining us. Thanks for kind of commiserating with us, I think is most like it. So I guess if you're going to go do some day drinking, go have a good time. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Try to be chill. Watch out for each other, because that's what's going on right now. I don't know, maybe learn a skill or something, or to try to think about how to fix something, or do something, or take up sewing or something, so that when the lights go out, then maybe you can help people out doing some things. So again, thanks to the chat. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And we will see you again next week. So cross your fingers that maybe it will be a slow news week and we won't have all these horrible semi kind of good things to talk about. So, all right. Take care, everybody.
Happy St. Patrick's. Bye.
Yeah.